was appropriately dubbed the King of Rock and Roll, and remains widely regarded as one of the most significant cultural icons of the 20th century. His success came about during a generational evolution. With a sexually energized, provocative performance style, Elvis Presley ushered in a new wave of influence on the youth in the 1950s. From the release of his first commercial single, That's Alright, in 1954, he would follow it up with more #1 chart-topping singles, including Heartbreak Hotel, Hound Dog, Jailhouse Rock, and Love Me Tender. On March 24, 1958, Elvis entered the United States Army in Memphis, Tennessee, and was stationed in Germany. He finally left active duty on March 5, 1960. Once he returned to civilian life, he would continue his rise among the A-list of music's elite superstars, including starring in 23 feature films and recording 21 LP and EP soundtrack records. Following Presley's death on August 16, 1977, his famous Graceland mansion has since become one of the nation's most popular tourist attractions and the second most visited house in America, right after the White House. One of the main attractions of the home is Elvis's Car Museum, which showcases some of the King's 200 automobiles that he owned during his lifetime. So, now that we got the intro and pleasantries out of the way, let's get right into it. The last ride for the King. So, we're only going to highlight a few of the King's best well-known rides, and there's no better way to start this off than with the last ride the King drove before his untimely passing in 1977. Elvis was indeed the first person to own a Stutz Blackhawk, and probably his favorite car of the 1970s was his 1973 Stutz Blackhawk 3. In fact, the last known photograph of Elvis was taken as he was driving through the Graceland gates in this vehicle shortly after midnight on August 16, 1977, after a late-night visit to the dentist. The very first Stutz Blackhawk prototype was produced in 1969 and started out in the United States as a Pontiac Grand Prix. It then was shipped to Italy to be converted, where only the engine and transmission were kept and the body was stripped away with a new frame added all by hand, not by machine, to transform the car into a Stutz Blackhawk. The interior of the Stutz was very luxurious. The floor coverings were made of Australian lamb's wool, 24-karat gold plates with bezels and moldings. The finest European leather covered the seats and was used on the dashboard. The dash also consisted of beautiful English burl. A gentleman by the name of Jules Myers, a Stutz dealer, showed up at Elvis's home in Beverly Hills with the Blackhawk Stutz for him to look at. Jules mentioned that this car was the very first Stutz production model in existence. However, this model was to be on exhibit at an upcoming car show and wasn't available for sale. So, Elvis agreed to take some press pictures with Jules in the car. Good for publicity if Myers agreed to sell the car to him. And just like that, Elvis was the owner of a brand new automobile before the car even went into full production. Elvis then handed over the car to famed American designer of Hollywood's most famous movie and TV action cars, George Barris, for further customization. It's unfortunate that this would be the final vehicle that Elvis would drive just hours before his death. However, that also helped add a bit of mystique and higher value on the car, because after all, it was Elvis's favorite car to take long solo rides in down Sunset Boulevard. The Thomaso Pantera. The car Elvis shot. Elvis Presley purchased the legendary yellow Thomaso Pantera for his then-girlfriend Linda Thompson. However, this vehicle holds many legendary tales behind the purchase and time it had in Elvis's collection. The Pantera was a sports car produced by the Thomaso Company of Italy from 1971 through 1996. The word Pantera is Italian for panther. The car was designed by Tom Tjarda with a steel monocoque design, the first instance of De Tomaso using this construction technique. The Pantera could accelerate to 60 miles per hour in 5.5 seconds and was equipped with a Ford Cleveland V8 motor that produced up to 330 horsepower. A close friend and confidant of Elvis, George Klein, recalls visiting Graceland and seeing the Pantera sitting in the driveway. Well, Elvis told the story of when the car had shut off on him while driving in Memphis, and he was forced to have someone come pick him up, leaving the sports car on the side of the road until he could have it towed. The king became enraged while recounting the story and pulled out his handgun and then proceeded to shoot the car 3 times. It then somehow started right up and was able to run. There would be several more occasions where Elvis would pull out his gun and shoot the car out of frustration for the poor engineering and reliability, most famously shooting the dashboard and steering wheel column, which according to legend is still present on the vehicle to this day. The King's famous pink chariot. After signing his first record deal, Elvis purchased the 1955 Cadillac Fleetwood 60 that he had custom painted in pink for his lovely mother, Gladys Presley. At the time of the purchase, the car was blue and had a black roof. Presley then hired his neighbor from Lamar Street, a fellow by the name of Art, who then customized the paint job, shedding the factory blue for the iconic Elvis Rose pink finish. The original pink Cadillac now remains on permanent display at Graceland, which was formerly under a carport for many years, and now resides in the Elvis Presley Auto Museum. Elvis considered the pink Cadillac as a personal testament to his success and was mainly used to ride around with his band the Blue Moon Boys between 1955 and 1956. During that time, Scotty Moore, the band's lead guitarist, crashed the car and caused around $1,000 in damages. Elvis decided to have the car repaired. However, after he returned home from the army, he eventually decided to gift the vehicle to his friend Joe Esposito, and he then purchased a 1961 Cadillac Coupe de Ville, which was white with a pink roof. It is reported that Elvis ended up owning around 200 Cadillacs. According to some estimates, many of these he gave away to family and friends. Elvis Presley certainly changed the landscape of music in the 1950s, and his influence continues to live on to this very day. At the time of his death, his net worth was estimated to be around $5 million. His estate is now worth around $100 million, largely due to his ex-wife Priscilla's years as the chairwoman of Elvis Presley Enterprises, which helped to add to the inheritance of their daughter Lisa Marie Presley was given once she became of age. But for millions of fans around the world, Elvis remains an iconic national treasure who touched many hearts through song, films, and his unmatched legacy. Unfortunately, he was taken from us before we could witness his continued evolution within the industry, but he remains a beacon of hope and prosperity, and still tops many lists each year for highest earning departed celebrities. And with that, we'd like to thank you all for stopping by. Be sure to check out our other content as well as like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Share your thoughts and ideas about the video in the comments section below. Until next time, this is Randall with Pack Matinee, encouraging you all to keep on, keeping on, and never stop believing.